The man suddenly flashed a picture of the devil in front of him and scared him to the point that the whole person flew out and a shadow suddenly appeared on the floor of the empty frame. Standing there and looking at him, it was very unpleasant to force you to get up and drive. He walked up to the old man and didn't hit anything. The next second, the old man appeared behind him, and when the old man disappeared, everything returned to normal. For 10 years, there has been no abnormality until this day. His hands suddenly turned red. No matter how he washed, he could not cool down. He looked at the screen in front of him, and then there was a sound in his ear, as if someone was calling him. He turned around and found that the original good motorcycle had long been gone. At this time, the sound of the engine suddenly came out of the red light, and suddenly the expression of Chang Ni was heavy and pointed forward. At that time, the old man who had made a contract with him was slowly walking. Then he drew a devil's face and ordered him to kill the heartless devil. Chang Ni didn't want to listen to his father. He just wanted to get out of here as soon as possible. But his motorcycle didn't listen to the story. The motorcycle broke through the horsepower line in an instant, and the motorcycle hit the ground for the 4th time. The motorcycle crashed into the scene of the accident. The gas wave broke through the glass on the side of the road and gradually seemed to exceed the speed of light. The next second, the tire caught fire, and the fire caught fire. At this time, a police officer was passing by the car. The next second, Chang Ni passed in front of him. The police officer was blown away by dozens of people in a car. Then his eyes were filled with smoke and a strong burning sensation in his body. Every inch of his skin, even his steps, became heavier. Every step he took, there would be a crack on the ground. How much he dared to retreat, Chang Ni's body would only be a tiger's home. At this time, the other person came to him. He was the son of Hell, the heartless devil. Suddenly, there was a loud bang behind him, which knocked Chang Ni to the ground. He asked Chang Ni to put a swing on his neck, and Chang Ni pulled the chain off his neck, but he just happened to be on the ground. And then there was a grim face in the water. Chang Ni's head was clamped into a meat pie, and then a bald head came down from the car. Just 2 seconds, and Chang Ni walked forward, pulling his shoulder, bald, hard to execute. Back to the head, Chang Ni's strength. The bald head was no longer arrogant and could not withstand the heat of hellfire. Chang Ni raised his hand and moved the chain against the bald head. I gave him a whip, and then I hit him in the bald head. The hellfire instantly burned his whole body. After a while, he was burned to black charcoal. The motorcycle appeared directly in front of him, and then he gave the power of hellfire to the motorcycle. The motorcycle, which was supposed to be a waterfall, turned into a train with unlimited power, and then Chang Ni drove the train to chase the evil spirit who had just escaped. But Chang Ni had not yet started to chase how far I saw a mixed soul, robbing Chang Ni a big jump to the ground. When the beauty left after Chang Ni's fingerman said, "Thank you for lifting up the mixed soul." Mixed soul raised his hand and pulled out a big gun to grab you, but found that the knife had melted. Today, he used the exclusive skill of hellfire to judge the eye. As long as you look at him, you can see the sin you have committed. If the sin is heavy, then he will only have one empty shell left. He is exhausted, and when the dark force inside him gradually retreats, he also returns to his original appearance. Suddenly, there was a sound of an old man around him. When he woke up again, he dared not believe that he was still alive. The feeling of dry cough in his throat made him unable to open his mouth. Fortunately, the window was full of cold water. He took a breath and drank all the cold water, and then went out to look for the old man who saved him. The old man said he was the guardian here, and he seemed to know what happened to Chang Ni last night. In order to solve the problem, he stayed in the church and let the old man sew the wound for him. When the two of them talked about the contract, Chang Ni remembered that her father was diagnosed with cancer at the age of 17. It's been a few days, and on the same night a mysterious old man suddenly appeared. And as he appeared, the sky suddenly lit up, and then he found Chang Ni, who was busy. But Chang Ni didn't realize that the old man's shadow was in the shape of a ghost. Then he took out a contract from his pocket and claimed that as long as he signed the contract, he could cure his father's cancer. Chang Ni sold her soul to the old man, and the old man only left a smile. Then Chang Ni woke up from bed and thought it was just a dream. But when she woke up, she found that her father's body was really getting better. But it didn't last long. Her father was killed in an accident during a performance. Chang Ni desperately rushed to her father. But when she looked up, she found that the old man was actually there, and then she rode the car to chase the old man. He wanted to ask the reason for his father's death, but he suspected that the old man had done something to his father. So he had an accident, and he said he had promised to cure his father's cancer, but he didn't promise not to take his life. Chang Ni just realized that she was fooled, but she couldn't get revenge. Chang Ni had to listen to her order to get rid of the shackles completely. 10 years later, the son of Mephistopheles, Wu Xingmo, betrayed the hell and wanted to unify the world. He gathered the 3 elements of the devil hidden in the world, namely the earth and the water that was formed by the earth and the wind that forms the wind. They planned to work together to create a new hell world, but Mephistopheles' power relies on the evil soul of man. If Wu Xingmo rules the world, it's going to have a big impact on him, and once his power leaves hell, it's going to have a big limit. So he has to use the power of the evil spirit knight to deal with Wu Xingmo. Now that Chang Ni has solved one of the 3 elements of the earth devil, Wu Xingmo will come back sooner or later to get revenge. The guardian let Chang Ni stay in the church because the devil couldn't get into this place, but Chang Ni kept persuading him to go back to see his girlfriend, and he just got to the door, but he was blocked by the police car outside the door because they found Chang Ni's license plate on the crime scene. Because Chang Ni refused to admit that she killed people, the police had to lock her up in the cell, but they didn't find anything wrong with Chang Ni. There was a strong sense of guilt in the cell. Accidentally pushed the dark force in his body, and he could have suppressed the energy in his body. But suddenly, a big face, followed by 2 people, pressed on the wall and threw him out. It was just a kid who stood up for him, and the light went up and the kid flew away. And then there was a big fight, and that's when the hell fire broke out. Chang Ni's reincarnation of the evil spirit knight again. He went straight to the light, and then he picked up the light, and Chang Ni looked at his broken shirt, and the skin of the light was not bad. I just don't know if there's a full bug and he's at the door, and he doesn't forget to judge the kid. He was sentenced to death. He lifted his hand and melted the iron door of the cell, and when he walked out of the police station without a trace, the fire truck was already waiting at the door, and suddenly a police officer chased him out and hit him with a stick. Chang Ni's upper jaw and lower jaw were directly separated, but the police officer was on duty, so Chang Ni sentenced him to nothing. Then he got on the fire truck and left the police station quickly, which directly alarmed the police in the whole city. Even the helicopter chased him, and eventually Chang Ni was trapped on the bridge with his legs crossed. He ran towards the police with a black weapon, and he slipped directly into the water. Then he left the scene by driving a fire engine, and he decided to take the initiative to attack the 5-star moth, and the 5-star moth immediately sent the wind moth to respond. The wind moth quickly went up, and he flew to the ground, and he flew to the mouth of the wall, why together to smell the feet, and then stood on the roof to mock Chang Ni, angry to stand up. Riding the tank began to chase, only to see him a knockhead turned upright upward along the building outside the wall, straight upward, wipe the glass of the toilet. Several back turn, I'm off work this time. In the end, Johnny came to the roof and fell to the ground. He looked around to find the figure of the wind demon. At this time, the police helicopter suddenly appeared. Johnny threw the chain in his hand and then jumped on the plane. Johnny didn't care about him. He went up and grabbed the wind demon and lifted Zhang Da up, but he suddenly turned into the wind and drifted away. Johnny pulled off the chain. Then he pushed the wind demon. He saw Johnny pulling the chain. Then he gave the hellfire to the chain. Finally, he threw it into the air and turned around. The flames formed a whirlpool and trapped the wind demon to death. In the end, Johnny picked up the chain and rushed to the ground in a tank. Then he fell to the ground. The whirlpool of the chain instantly drowned the crowd. The girl next to him instantly recognized Johnny, but he couldn't stop the police from attacking. He could only watch Johnny being shot. But when the shooting gradually stopped, Johnny was unharmed. He lifted his hand and lifted the firewall. Then he got on the tank and left the scene. The next day, Johnny came to the cemetery again. He just learned that the wind demon was looking for the contract of the Ark of the Covenant. Go to the Ark of the Covenant to collect souls. Later, he found that the souls there were too evil, so he took the contract and ran away. No one knows where he is now. In the end, the guardian reminded him to protect his friends and family. Don't be caught by the wind demon. Johnny thought of his girlfriend at the time. At night, the guardian suddenly heard the sound. He didn't expect that the wind demon would not be restricted by the god. The old man turned around and hit a shovel. He was turned upside down. He forced the old man to ask where the Ark of the Covenant was. The old man didn't say anything. He went up and hit a duck. Then he went up and hit the old man again. After a big fight, the guardian still didn't disclose any information. At this time, the wind demon suddenly saw the tire mark on the ground, so he decided to start with Johnny first. When Johnny came to his girlfriend's house, he found that she was already lying on the ground. Johnny just opened his head. The wind demon hit him in the face and hit him on the wall. Johnny quickly turned around and hit him on the ground. The judge's eye was ineffective against the wind demon because he didn't have a soul, so he hit the male master with a spear. The wind demon hit the male master on the ground with one force, then he hit the male master back to his original form. In the end, he told the male master that he wanted to save his girlfriend. He used the Ark of the Covenant as an exchange. Time is limited. Johnny must get the Covenant before dawn to save his girlfriend. The guardian immediately learned of Johnny's arrival. He picked up the iron bridge and hit it like this. The Covenant had been hidden in his iron bridge. Johnny just wanted to fight. But the old man gave him a reason. The old man was obviously very satisfied with his answer. Then he gave the Covenant to Johnny, and he decided to go with Johnny to the Ark of the Covenant to save people. With the whistle in his mouth, a group of horses flew over in a daze. Then he put on his horseback and put on his hat. The next second, the flame was all over his body. It turned out that he was the last generation of evil spirit knights, Cutter, Slay. This is when Cutter took out the evil spirit weapon and threw it to Johnny. Then he turned back to the graveyard. Because his dark energy can only maintain this last transformation, Johnny can only go alone to save his girlfriend. But just as he passed a pool, the ink flew out and pulled him into the water. Cutter Slay turned around and threw the ink away. Then he set fire and burned the ink into steam. After successfully solving the ink, he successfully built the 5-star ink. He took out the Covenant and asked his girlfriend to go first. The 5-star ink was very powerful. Cutter Slay slowly walked to the 5-star ink. Then he handed the Covenant to him. Cutter Slay turned around. He turned around and punched Cutter Slay. He punched Cutter Slay in the head. Cutter Slay flew a few meters away. Just as he turned around to pick up the Covenant, Cutter Slay fired a flame at the ground. He punched Cutter Slay in the head. Then he continued to punch Cutter Slay in the head. But with the sun rising, the force of the change is about to take effect. He must solve the battle as soon as possible. The male master has pulled off his iron chain and then thrown it at the heartless devil. He grabbed the iron chain in a force. Just throw the male master out of the house and bang these male master waste keyboard output to the opposite in the sun. The hellfire cannot be seen. The heartless devil once got the contract and then read the spell to unlock the seal for a moment. All the evil spirits flew out and entered the heartless devil's body. After a while, the heartless devil completed the transformation. Countless evil spirits merged to give him super strong, dark power. At the last moment, his girlfriend came to the rescue, and the sword pierced the brain of the 5-star devil. I just wanted to keep shooting, but I found that this kind of attack was useless. Johnny took the weapon in a row and finally put the gun in the dark, and the hellfire was ignited again. I bumped into the 5-star devil and the soul was scattered on the spot, but I didn't expect him to gather the energy to revive again. Johnny went into the dark again and became the evil spirit knight. When they thought it was all over, the Devil King Mephist suddenly appeared. Now that the contract has been completed, he has taken the energy of hellfire from Johnny. Without the help of the evil spirit knight, the Devil King is no threat to the world. They will continue to protect the justice of the world from now on, and they will continue to protect the justice of the world with the demon area. This time, the evil spirit knight is over, and it's not easy to play. Friends, remember to pay attention to me at once. See you next time.